calling out Gavin Newsom's wildfire drama and pressing Bernie Sanders with real facts. No fluff. Just straight talk.
Look at the far end of that graph, and you see we're in a cooling period.
Well, I'm not sure.
Gavin Newsom did during the LA wildfires was plain outrageous. At one point, he actually faked a phone call with the former president just to avoid answering a woman who was demanding real answers. It's that typical political move. Once they're elected, they act like they're above it all, even when they're part of the problem. But Joe Rogan wasn't letting it slide. He had Jamie pull up the footage and, believe me, watching it for yourself hits way harder than just hearing about it.
Like what's going on? Did you see what's going on? Obviously, you've seen what's going on in California. But the governor gave this creepy speech where he was talking about speculators coming in and talking about what to do with the land of all these homes that have been burnt down while it's still only 6% contained. And he did this little dance like, I've been talking with these, with the governor of Hawaii about what to do. We've got some ideas, a speculator, we're gonna have some meetings. Like, he's
really?
Oh, show it to him, Jamie. It's so creepy because it's happening while these people are, their houses have been burned, all their childhood memorabilia, all the stuff for their kids, the photos, and everything they have is gone. All heirlooms, their mother's wedding ring, that kind of shit. Everything's burnt to the ground. And this guy's like standing in front of all this stuff, and he's got a smile on his face.
To be fair, Gavin was trying to shine a light on a real issue. Estate developers swooping in to buy fire-damaged homes for next to nothing, taking advantage of families who just lost everything. He even mentioned Hawaii's governor, since something similar happened during the Maui wildfires the year before. But let's be honest, California is still one of the most poorly run states in the country. Many wildfire victims in LA are still stuck in endless insurance red tape, and some are even being denied coverage altogether. It's a complete mess. And coming up next, Bernie Sanders gets a harsh dose of reality after weighing in on climate change.
Watch this. Play this. Give me.
I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor of down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties, and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks.
With a big smile on his face. Look at the little wiggle he does with his shoulders. Speculator, watch this. Talking to Josh. Look at this. Look at this little wiggle. The amount of money they could have saved by just clearing brush, by filling the reservoir, that 11 million gallon reservoir was completely empty during the time of full fire season. Like, why didn't you fix that?
Yeah.
Like, it's all insanely mismanaged. And then this guy is on television talking about, real excited about that. Doing a dance in front of the burned down home that people used to sleep in, where their children would sleep.
Joe, who was reading from a late 2024 article about a study that combined 150,000 fossil records with modern climate models. The chart shows shaded areas with a 68% chance of being accurate basically. Even this study, which hints at possible cooling, is built on a lot of assumptions. Joe used that to call out some real issues in how climate change is being talked about, and honestly, he made some strong points.
And I know that, there are some people who think climate change is a hoax. It ain't a hoax. I think the last 10 years have been the warmest on record. And we can create millions of good-paying jobs transforming our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency, to solar, to wind, and other sustainable energies.
I think the climate change issue is very complicated. And I think, did you see the Washington Post piece that they wrote, where they did this long-term view? First of all, the reality is that the Earth's temperature has never been static, right? We could both agree on that. It's always been up and down. There's been ice ages and heat waves. And then the Washington Post looked at it. What was the time period that they looked at? That essentially they found that we're in a cooling period. Scientists have captured the Earth's climate change over the last 485 million years. Here's a surprising place we stand now. So look at the far end of that graph, and you see we're in a cooling period.
Well, I'm not sure. No, I didn't read that off.
Exactly. Let's break down what Joe was really saying, because this isn't some wild conspiracy. In the push to hit net zero goals, governments have started deciding how regular people should live. We're talking carbon taxes, forced electric vehicle, rules, and billions in taxpayer money poured into so-called green projects. Meanwhile, those same leaders fly to climate summits in private jets, burning more fuel in one trip than most people do in a year. Total hypocrisy. But the real kicker. Joe called out Kamala Harris during her campaign after she refused to come on his show, then somehow turned around and blamed him for it.
A lot of money involved in this whole climate change emergency issue, and there's a lot of control, and that's a big part of this problem. Not only that, if we're just talking about primarily carbon and carbon footprint, what are we going to do about China? Because China is like, what percentage of...
They are the major polluter right now in terms of carbon. We're number 2. We used to be 1. They're number 1 right now.
There's all these entanglements. Whenever someone's discussing something, whether it's economics or whether it's health issues or pharmaceutical drugs, there's financial entanglements. I think we both agree with that, right?
Yep.
And I think this is part of the issue with this whole climate change emergency as well, because it's not just that we could all agree pollution is a major factor. It's a huge issue in the world today. We could all agree with that, right? I think one of the things that we have to recognize is that whenever there's an issue that everyone can agree on, you're going to have a bunch of people that capitalize on that issue, and they look to gain more money. They have financial issues that they push forward in order to capitalize on this issue, but then also power and control.
This episode dropped for days after Trump's, and by then, it was clear Kamala Harris wasn't coming. Joe explained that her team wanted a scripted setup, 45 minutes max, not on his set, and fully controlled. They didn't want a real conversation, just a polished PR moment. Even then, her former staffers kept spinning the story. That's when Joe stepped in and shut it down. Setting the record straight,
I was not going to do that. I would have had to. I knew you guys flew from England, and I wasn't going to cancel on you because she had an opportunity to come in. You could look at this and you could say, oh, you're being a diva. But she had an opportunity to come here when she was in Texas, and I literally gave them an open invitation. I said, anytime. I said, if she's done at 10 o'clock, we'll come back here at 10 o'clock. I go, I'll do it at 9 in the morning. I'll do it at 10 p.m. I'll do it at midnight. She's up. She wants to, drink a Red Bull. Can party on.
Yeah, but I think this idea that you're being a diva is silly because you're offering her the opportunity to do exactly what the other candidate did, right?
Well, she actually reached out when she found out that he was coming on. So their camp reached out to me. So I said, great, I would love to talk to her. But it was very difficult to tie it down.
Skipping Joe. S podcast was definitely one of several big missteps in Kamala's campaign, and not a minor one either. But I'd really like to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and let's talk about it. And if you enjoyed the video, feel free to share it. With friends, it really does make a difference. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.